What my mother-in-law didn't know was that I had just closed a deal worth $500,000. While she was handing me a grocery store job application in front of her bridge club friends, my lawyer was drafting the paperwork that would save her house from foreclosure. My name is Emma, and for 6 months, I'd been the family joke. It started the day after David and I got married. We'd moved to Portland to be closer to his parents, Linda and Robert, and I'd agreed to David's request to keep my actual career quiet. My parents are traditional, he'd explained. If they know you're making more than me, they'll have opinions. Can we just say you do freelance graphic design? I should have said no. But I loved David, and I wanted his family to love me too. So I became Emma the struggling freelancer, when in reality, I was Emma the silent partner, in a tech startup valued at $40 million. The first Sunday dinner should have been a warning. Linda smiled at me across her table. So Emma, David tells us you work from home. How nice that you have such a flexible schedule. I really enjoy it, I said. I'm sure you do. She passed me the rolls. It must be wonderful not having the stress of a real job. Robert nodded. A man needs a wife who prioritizes the home. I glanced at David, expecting him to say something, but he was focused on his pot roast. That was 6 months ago. Since then, Sunday dinners had become my nightmare. Every week, Linda found new ways to remind me I wasn't contributing, wasn't pulling my weight, wasn't good enough for her son. Emma, since you're home all day anyway, could you pick up my dry cleaning? Emma, the garden needs weeding. And every week, I did it. Because David asked me to. And because I kept thinking she'd eventually see me as family. I was an idiot. The Friday before everything changed, I was reviewing documents for the biggest deal of my career. Our startup was being acquired, and as a silent partner with 7% stake, I stood to make just under $2 million. My lawyer, Patricia, was on speakerphone. Emma, you need to be at the signing Monday morning. 9 a.m. sharp. I'll be there. They're announcing the acquisition Tuesday. So if you've been keeping this quiet, you've got 4 days. I thought about Linda's face when she found out. That Sunday dinner started like all the others. I brought a homemade pecan pie and headed to the kitchen to help. Oh, Emma, you're here. Linda didn't look up. Set the table. Use the good china. Marcus is bringing a date. Marcus arrived with Veronica, a corporate attorney with perfect hair. Linda lit up like Christmas. Veronica, please, sit here next to me. I want to hear all about your work. For 20 minutes, Linda peppered Veronica with questions about her cases, her education, her career. Robert beamed. It's so refreshing to meet a young woman with real ambition, Linda said. Her eyes flickered to me. I'm sure Emma works hard at her little design projects, Robert added. David's hand found mine under the table and squeezed. After dinner, Linda recruited Veronica and me to help clear the table. Except help meant I cleared while Veronica sat with wine, continuing her conversation with Linda. I was loading the dishwasher when I heard it. It must be so nice for David, Linda was saying, to not have to worry about Emma's career getting in the way. Some women are built for careers, and some are more domestic. I closed the dishwasher gently. Linda, I said, I should probably mention. Emma, honey, could you wipe down the counters? I wiped down the counters. Then I took out the trash. In the garage, I heard Robert's voice through the thin wall. We're going to have to tell them soon. The bank gave us until the end of the month. I froze. I know. Linda's voice cracked. 50 years in this house, Robert. We need $500,000 or we lose it. We could ask Marcus. He just bought that condo. We can't burden him. I stood there, holding the recycling, feeling something shift in my chest. These people had made me feel small for 6 months. And yet, I thought about my own father losing his house when I was 12. I remembered his face the day we moved out. I went back inside. The evening continued. Coffee was served with my pie. Linda complimented it absently, clearly distracted. When we finally left, I made a decision. Monday morning, I signed the acquisition papers. At 11:15, I became very wealthy. Congratulations, Patricia said. Patricia, I need you to do something for me. By Tuesday afternoon, everything was arranged. I didn't tell David what I was planning. That Sunday, Linda called Thursday. Emma, I'm having my bridge club over Saturday. Since you're not busy, I thought you could help prepare. I can't, Linda. I have plans. Silence. Then plans? Plans. Her voice went cold. I suppose your little design projects are more important than family. She hung up. David found me staring at my phone. What happened? Your mother just guilted me for having plans that don't involve serving her friends. Emma, I know she can be difficult. She thinks I'm a burden on you. She thinks I'm lazy and useless. That's not true, isn't it? When's the last time you corrected her? He didn't answer. Sunday dinner arrived. I dressed in a simple black dress and diamond studs. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. 6 months ago, I'd been confident. Now I just looked tired. This was the last time. We arrived at 5:30. Linda opened the door. David. Her smile was strained. I've prepared a special meal. We're having guests. In the living room, I found Marcus and Veronica, plus 4 of Linda's bridge club friends and 2 other couples. I thought we should have a larger gathering, Linda announced. After appetizers, as everyone moved toward the dining room, Linda stopped me. Emma dear, would you mind helping in the kitchen? In the kitchen, she handed me an apron. I need you to help serve tonight. I stared at the apron. You want me to serve dinner? As a guest? Your family, dear. Besides, you're so good at this sort of thing. Some people are meant to lead, and some are meant to support. I took the apron, held it, then set it down. Linda blinked. I'm sorry? I said no. I'm not serving dinner. I'm a guest, and I'm going to eat like a guest. Her face flushed. Emma, I don't think you understand. I understand perfectly. You think because I don't talk about my work, I don't have real work. You think I'm available to be your personal assistant? You think I owe you unpaid labor? How dare you? I'm not finished. I have been patient for 6 months. I have weeded your garden, organized your garage, picked up your dry cleaning. I have sat at your table while you praised Marcus and implied I'm lazy. I have smiled while you introduced me as David's wife who does little projects from home. And I have never corrected you. Linda's face went white. But I'm done. I'm done being small to make you feel big. I'm done pretending I'm grateful when he should feel lucky. And I'm done being treated like hired help. You ungrateful. Emma? David appeared. What's going on? Your mother wants me to serve dinner. I'm declining. He looked between us. Mom, you asked Emma to serve? I asked her to help. It's not reasonable. I walked past them both, through the dining room, toward the door. Emma, wait. David caught up. Please, let me talk to her. No, David. This isn't about tonight. This is about 6 months of your mother disrespecting me and you letting her because it's easier than standing up to her. That's not fair. Isn't it? You asked me to hide who I am. You let your mother disrespect me because you didn't want waves. Well, I'm done making myself small for your family. I opened the door. Where are you going? You can stay or come, but I'm done here. I walked out. At home, I poured wine and sat in my office, looking at the acquisition papers. $2 million, and Linda thought I needed a grocery store job. My phone buzzed. Patricia. Tact, Emma. The acquisition announcement goes live tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, the world would know. David found me an hour later. Emma, we need to talk. We do. He sat. My mother was out of line. I told her she owes you an apology. She's upset. She thinks you overreacted. Of course she does. But she also... He hesitated. They're in financial trouble. Serious trouble. They're about to lose the house. I know. He stared. You know? I overheard them last week. They need $500,000. And you didn't tell me? Would you have told me? Or worried it would make me uncomfortable? He didn't answer. I walked to my desk and pulled out an envelope. This came for your parents yesterday. David took it. What is this? Open it. Inside were legal documents. He read, then looked up, confused. This says their mortgage has been paid in full, with an extra $100,000 deposited? Emma, what did you do? I paid off their house. He stared. You what? I paid off their mortgage. They won't lose the house. How did you... He stopped. Emma, how much money do you have? As of Monday? Almost $2 million. Silence. What? The startup I invested in was acquired. I'm a silent partner. 7% stake. The deal closed Monday. David sat heavily. $2 million. 1.8 after taxes. I used $500,000 to save your parents' house. After they spent 6 months treating you like garbage. Because my father lost his house when I was 12, and I remember what that did to him. Because those are your parents. Because I could. And because I wanted them to know the woman they treated like she was worthless is the reason they still have a home. David looked at the papers. They're going to know it was you. That's the point. Patricia included a letter. They'll receive it tomorrow morning. The same day the acquisition is announced. He studied me. You're angrier than I thought. I'm not angry, David. I'm done. There's a difference. My phone rang. Linda. We looked at each other. Are you going to answer? David asked. But you can, he answered. Hi, Mom. Pause. Yes, she's here. Longer pause. I think you should read what arrives tomorrow before we have this conversation. Another pause. Because everything is about to change. He hung up. She's very upset. Of course she is. He looked at me. I'm sorry. I should have protected you. I should have told her the truth months ago. I was wrong. I hadn't expected that. David. No. Let me finish. You've been patient and kind to my family, and they've treated you terribly. My mother has been cruel, and I let it happen because confronting them was harder than asking you to endure it. He stood. I'm sorry. Thank you. What happens tomorrow? Tomorrow, your parents receive the paperwork. They'll see the acquisition announcement. They'll put it together, and then we see if they're capable of growth. Tuesday morning, my phone started ringing at 8 a.m. First Marcus, then Veronica, then Linda. I let it go to voicemail. By 10, David was fielding calls from his entire family. At 11, there was a knock. David answered. Linda's voice, high and strained. Please, I need to talk to Emma. I came to the door. Linda looked like she'd aged 5 years overnight. No makeup. Red eyes. May I come in? I stepped back. We sat in the living room, David between us. Linda held the folder. I received these this morning. I know. You paid off our house. $500,000. Her hands shook. Why would you do that, after how I've treated you? Because you're David's parents. Because you were going to lose your home. And because I could. But I've been terrible to you. I called you lazy. I made you do chores. Last night, I tried to make you serve dinner, and you still saved our house. I didn't do it for you, Linda. I did it because no one should lose their home if I can prevent it. And because I wanted you to know, definitively, that you were wrong about me. She flinched. I'm not a struggling freelancer. I'm not lazy. I'm not living off your son. I'm a successful investor who chose to keep quiet because my husband asked me to. And for 6 months, you used that silence to belittle me. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I know. And I have no excuse. I was worried about money and stressed, and I took it out on you. But that's not a reason. I was cruel because I was scared. I waited. Robert and I read about the acquisition this morning. We saw your name as a founding partner. We saw the valuation. We realized that while we were treating you like you were worthless, you were worth more than Marcus and David combined. And that makes us monstrous. It does, I agreed quietly. She looked shocked, I'd agreed. But it also makes you human. You made assumptions and treated someone badly because of them. Now you have a choice. You can learn from this, or resent me for it. I don't resent you. I'm ashamed. Shame is useful. It means you understand. What you do with it is what matters. She nodded. I owe you an apology bigger than words. I owe you years of kindness to make up for months of cruelty. Thank you for saving our house. For being generous when we didn't deserve it. For being a better person than we were to you. You're welcome. What can we do to make this right? Treat me like an equal. Not like a daughter. Not like a servant. Stop making assumptions about people. And remember that kindness costs nothing, but cruelty costs everything. We can do that. We will. Then we start from here. Clean slate. But Linda? I waited until she met my eyes. If you ever treat me like that again, no amount of money will fix our relationship. David and I will walk away. And you'll lose a son, along with your pride. I understand. After Linda left, David pulled me close. That was intense. You were kind to her. I was honest. There's a difference. What if she doesn't change? Then I'll know I tried, and I'll walk away without guilt. The next weeks were strange. Linda was obsessively polite. Robert sent flowers with a card. I'm sorry. Thank you. Marcus called to apologize. Veronica texted her respect. Sunday dinners continued, but different now. Linda asked about my work. Robert wanted to hear about the acquisition, and David talked proudly about his wife. 6 weeks later, Linda asked to speak privately. We sat in her garden. I've been thinking about why I treated you the way I did. I think I was jealous. My whole life, I was told my worth was in being a good wife and mother. I gave up everything because that's what women did. And then you came along, successful and accomplished, and you proved women can have both. Instead of celebrating that, I resented you. I hadn't expected such self-awareness. I made you small because I felt small. I treated you like a servant because I felt like I'd spent my life being one. And when you weren't, when you exceeded expectations while being kind, I couldn't handle it. Linda, I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm explaining. You deserve to know none of it was about you. It was about me and my insecurities. For what it's worth, being a good wife and mother is valuable. Raising David, creating a home, those are real accomplishments. You don't have to diminish what you did to acknowledge what I do. She smiled sadly. That's generous. It's true. We don't have to tear each other down. Is that what you're doing? Building me up after I tried to tear you down? I'm trying to create a relationship that doesn't hurt either of us. She laughed. You're remarkable, Emma. David is lucky. I know. Another laugh. And humble too. False humility helps no one. I want to be better. Not just to you, but in general. Will you help me? I thought about saying no. About protecting myself. But I thought about my father. About Linda's face. About the choice between resentment and growth. I'll help you. But it's going to take work. I can do uncomfortable. I've earned uncomfortable. That Sunday, Linda asked me to tell everyone about the acquisition, about my career. So I did. I talked about my initial investment, the years of strategy, the acquisition. I talked about my plans to invest in other women-led businesses, about mentoring, about using my success to create opportunities. Marcus listened. Robert asked questions. David held my hand. And Linda looked at me with something like pride. To Emma, Robert said, raising his glass. Who saved our house and taught us a lesson we needed? Everyone raised their glasses. To Emma, they echoed. I raised mine. To second chances. And to families that grow. It wasn't perfect. Linda still sometimes slipped. Robert still sometimes patronized. Marcus still sometimes forgot I existed. But they were trying. And I was learning that sometimes the most powerful thing isn't revenge. It's grace. Not the kind that lets people walk on you, but the kind that sets boundaries, demands respect, and offers a path forward. I didn't save their house just to prove a point. I saved it because I could, because it was right, and because I wanted to be the kind of person who helps even when it's hard. And in doing so, I taught them something. That worth isn't measured in job titles or paychecks. It's measured in how you treat people, especially the people you think can't do anything for you. 6 months later, we hosted Thanksgiving at our house. Linda helped cook, actually helped. Robert brought wine without commenting. Marcus brought Veronica, now his fiancée, and they both treated me as an equal. Over turkey and pie, Linda stood to toast. I want to thank Emma for saving more than our house. She saved our family. She taught us that strength looks like grace, that success doesn't require anyone's failure, and that the people we underestimate are the ones who end up saving us. She raised her glass. To Emma, who is everything I should have seen from the beginning. I felt tears prick my eyes. To Emma, everyone said. This time, it sounded like respect, like gratitude, like family. After dinner, I found myself in the kitchen with Linda, washing dishes. Thank you for not giving up on us, she said quietly. Thank you for not giving me a reason to. She smiled. Do you know what I've learned? What? That the measure of a person isn't what they do when they have power. It's what they do when they don't have to do anything at all. Maybe. Or maybe it's that we're all capable of growth if we're willing to look at ourselves honestly. Either way, I'm grateful you gave me the chance. We finished in comfortable silence. Later, David found me on the porch. Happy? He asked. I thought about it. 6 months ago, I would have said no. I was tired, diminished, small. But now, I'm happy. Not because everything is perfect, but because I stood up for myself. Because I set boundaries. Because I chose grace without sacrificing my dignity. I'm proud of you. For being stronger than all of us. I didn't do it for you. I did it for me. Because I needed to know I could be generous without being a doormat, kind without being weak, that I could demand respect while still offering grace. And did you prove it? I smiled. I did. We stood on the porch, and I thought about how far we'd all come. How Linda went from handing me job applications to asking my investment advice. How Robert went from dismissing me to bragging about me. How Marcus went from ignoring me to actually listening. And how I went from making myself small to taking up exactly the space I deserved. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't even justice. It was growth. Real, uncomfortable, transformative growth. For all of us. And that $500,000? It wasn't the money that changed everything. It was what it represented. Proof that assumptions can be wrong, that quiet doesn't mean weak, and that the people you underestimate might be the ones who save you. Not because they have to, but because they can. And sometimes, that's the most powerful thing of all.